So in this video, I want to show us a very quick method of solving a quadratic equation by factorization method. So it's for people who have at least basic knowledge or fundamental knowledge of quadratic equation by method of factorization. So I want to show us a very quick way we can achieve that. So when you look at this equation, x squared plus x minus 2. Okay, by factorization, first of all, you compare this equation with ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So the rule is that you look for two numbers that when you multiply them together or you find their product, it will give you minus 2, that is c. So at this point, we can say that a is 1, b is 1, and c is minus 2. So what are those two factors that their product will give us minus 2? Then when we add them, we have what? 1. So when we look at it, we don't want to maybe go by guesswork. 2, let's call it 2 and minus 1, because 2 times minus 1 gives us minus 2. And when you add 2 plus minus 1 is the same thing as 2 minus 1, which is what? 1. It gives us b. Okay, that means 2 and minus 1 are factors. So by method of factorization, this will turn to x squared plus 2x minus x minus 2 equals to 0. You can group this together. We have x squared plus 2x minus in bracket x plus 2 close bracket equals to 0. Take note that when I enclose these two guys in brackets, I need to change the sign in the middle so that when I open the bracket back, we still have what we got in the last line. Okay, so to break this down, we can factor something x out of this. This will be x open bracket x plus 2. There's an invisible 1 here. We have minus 1 open bracket x plus 2 equals to 0. Okay, we now have x plus 2, x minus 1 equal to 0, and x plus 2 equal to 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. So when we take plus 2 to the right, we have x equals to minus 2, or x equals to 1. All right, so these are the factors for this expression, this equation. I'm also going to solve the second equation before I go to show us the fastest method. So picking the second equation, let's say 2x, this is not part of this, 2x squared plus 7x plus 5 equals to 0. So in this case, first of all, our a is 2, our b is 7, and our c is 5. So before you find the factors that will give us c, first of all, you multiply a by c. That's a times c equals to 2 times 5, which is what? 10. So it is this 10 that we are looking for, what two numbers that their product will give. So what are those two numbers that their products will give us 10? Then when we add them, we have what? 7. Okay, so the two numbers are 2 and 5, because 2 times 5 gives us 10, and 2 plus 5 gives us 7. Okay, so we go with that. Therefore 2x squared plus 7x plus 5 equals to 0. We turn to 2x squared plus, we are replacing 5 and 2 in place of 7x, 5x plus 2x plus 5 equals 0. Remember, 5x plus 2x still give us what? 7x. So we have 2x squared plus 5x in brackets plus 2x plus 5 equals 0. X is here, x is here. So we can have something like x, open bracket. When we take one x out of here, we have 2x plus, when we take x out of this, we have 5 plus, we put 1 before the bracket, 2x plus 5 equals 0. Now at this point, we have 2x plus 5, pick this in brackets, and x plus 1 equals 0. So 2x plus 5 equal to 0, or x plus 1 equal to 0. We now have 2x equals to minus 5, or x equals to minus 1. Divide by 2. When you divide by 2, you have x equals to minus 5 over 2, or minus 1. Alright, so I've solved two questions now, this and this, using the factorization method. But there is a quick way you can do this without going through this solution. So what you have to do is that once you find the factor, let's say x squared plus 2, let me write that, x squared plus x minus 2 equal to 0. The first thing you do is find the factors. When you know the factors, you know the answer. So look at this. There is no number greater than 1. The coefficient of x squared here is 1. You look at this first. Now the next thing you look at, what is the factor of this? And we had brought this out to be 2 and what? Minus 1. So once you have the factors, what you have to do next is to invert the sign. Invert the sign. So if it was positive, it turns to be negative. If it was negative, it turns to be positive. Okay? So since the factors of this equation is 2 and minus 1, we change the sign. This turns to be minus 2 and 1. Okay? Therefore, the factors of this expression is x equals to minus 2 or 1. Okay? Look at it. The same thing we got here. Once you have the factor, just invert the sign. Okay? Once you invert the sign, that gives us what? The factors or the roots of the equation. Now let's come to the second question. 2x squared plus 7x plus 5 equal to 0. So our factors were 2 and what? 2 and 5. Now invert the sign. When you invert the sign, we have 2 and what? Sorry, minus 2 and what? Minus 5. Now this should be the answer, okay? But watch, there is a number before x squared, okay? The coefficient of x squared is greater than 1, which is 2. So once you invert the sign, divide it by what? That number. So our root of the equation will now be x equals to minus 2 over 2 or minus 5 over 2. If you break it down further, it will be x equals to minus 2 over 2 is minus 1 or minus 5 over 2. It's the same thing when you look at this. So this is a very quick method of getting it. Let me quickly do another example. X squared plus 3x minus 10 equal to 0. The factors here will be 5 and minus 2. When you invert the sign, we now have x equals to minus 5 or 2. These are the factors. Okay? These are the factors. So you can go try this out. Thank you for watching this video.